Today is a beautiful day. I know I already did a video for you guys about hardening off your seedlings when you're taking them outdoors, but after looking through my uploads, I realized that that video was cut off a bit. So I'm going to do another one. Feel free to watch the other one. Although it was cut off, there was still some valuable information in that video. But this one, I'm going to make sure that I cover all bases and all topics and all situations. So this will be a even more in-depth video on hardening off your seedlings. It is a beautiful day, so just be mindful that there will be noises from animals, people outside, dogs, and everything like that. I'll do my best to only record once they're not doing whatever they're doing, but just be mindful when it's a beautiful day, everyone is outside. Once you take your seedlings outside and just have them in a nice shady area, if it's too sunny, if you can't find a nice shady area, just go ahead and put some shade cloth over your seedlings, or you could go ahead and put them underneath a table of some sort. But once you have them outside, you just want to check all your seedlings to make sure that they are fully moistened. You don't want them to be trying to adjust to the temperatures and conditions of outside while having a dry soil. That will be putting additional stress on the seedlings, and you definitely don't want to do that. After you go in and check the moisture level of your seedlings, you want to check back in about 10 to 15 minutes. Whatever the plant didn't draw up, you want to go ahead and dump that. You don't want your seedlings to be sitting in water because that's also not good. For the first day, we're going to have our seedlings, I'm keeping them in this greenhouse to help with the wind pressure, and I'm going to have them sitting in the shade area for approximately 4 hours. Now I'm going to go to my daughter's school and do the gardening with them, and then once I come back, I'm going to take these trays and put them back in the basement, and that will be their hardening off for day 1. So this process is going to happen over approximately 7 to 14 days. So this video is going to go through that entire process with you guys. So that's why it's going to be even more in depth. This is going to be it for day 1, and we'll pick this back up tomorrow to add another 4 hours to their hardening off, and so on and so forth. Welcome to day number 2. The temperature is perfect for an extended hardening off period. It is around like 46 degrees, no wind or like very little wind, and I decided to just have them out on the table instead of in the greenhouse, only because I just want to give them a chance to experience the mild wind, the little bit of rain that's happening right now. I think that'll be good for them, but everything did really well from yesterday. The temperature in the greenhouse did go up to about 70 when I was teaching the gardening class, so there is some sun damage on some of these seedlings, but nothing too crazy, because immediately as soon as I came home, I just took them out and put them back in. Today we're going to be doing 6 hours. This is it for day number 2, and I will see you guys for day number 3. Hi friends, welcome back. This is day number 3. We started to put the plants out at 12 this afternoon. I should have probably not kept them out as long, because what's happening is the added wind chill is just making it feel a lot colder out here. So we have a few plants that are a little bit damaged because of it, but the plan is to just bring them in for tonight, and then tomorrow we'll reassess. Some of the plants I'm not going to put back outside because I just don't think that they were ready to start the acclimation process, especially the ones that I showed you right now that has some damage. These are some cosmos here, and they were just pretty tall, so they have fallen over, and that's just with the wind. And then we have the purple basil here. The leaves aren't very happy. And then lastly, it's just the roselle. And as you know, this is a more tropical plant, so I probably shouldn't have tried hardening off this one just yet. So I may go ahead and restart those roselle plants, but everything else is doing pretty well. So what I'm going to do is just restart most of these basils just in case they don't recover from this damage. Let me just give you guys a little bit more up close Look at that. I'm just spotting this one here. The borage has some sun damage. You could see the darkness at the end of the leaves. Just to be safe and just to give them like a nice little break, I'm just going to put them all down in the basement. I'm not going to be lazy and keep them up here. I don't want to experience any more damage. But that is going to be it for day number 3. Hi friends, welcome back. So we are at day 4 for the hardening off process. You guys know that I was a little bit unsure about what happened on day 3. We had a lot of wind, and as you guys know, the temperature may be 50 something, and then when that wind hits, it starts to feel like it's in the 40s. So I left them out because I just wanted to keep going with the time. So I left them out for, I believe, almost 9 hours. That was definitely a little bit, well, the plan was to leave them out for 9 hours. I ended up leaving them out for like 7 hours. That was a little bit too much. I think I should have, because it's a new element, I should have definitely just give them like 3 hours in that wind chill and then bring them back indoors. But at a certain point, when you have a bunch of seedlings that you have to harden off, you kind of become a little lazy about it. You don't want to bring them back down in the basement, and that's really just the truth of it. Even when I wanted to bring them inside and I was thinking of bringing them in the basement, I said no, I don't want to do that. So I ended up leaving them in the greenhouse in the back room, just to give them a little bit more protection. So essentially they were just almost outside, because like I tell you guys, the temperature in the back room is about 1 degree or 2 higher than it is outside. So the plan for today was to have them out in the sun for just 3 hours. It's actually a overcast day, so because it is, we're going to switch it up a bit, and we're just going to let them stay outside from, I brought them out I think 9 o'clock, and we're just going to let them stay all through the night. We're going to bring them down because sometimes when I put them on the ledge and they get a good wind, they fall over. So we're going to bring them down. We're going to let them stay overnight. Then when the sun comes up and it's morning time, this area will be a sunny area, and we're just going to let them experience the sun for just 3 hours. After that 3 hours has passed, we're going to bring them back in the shade on the table, and the following day we're just going to increase how much sun exposure that they're getting. Good morning friends, welcome back. So now we are officially at our 5-day mark. I left most of these seeds, well, I left all these seeds outdoors overnight yesterday. The temperatures did get around mid 30s, and I'm going to show you guys how everything looks. Everything is looking decent here. You could feel in the leaves that they are a bit cold, and also the soil is needing some water. Same thing for over here. Leaves are looking good. I'm surprised, well, not really, that the lemongrass is doing so well, because my large lemongrass didn't start really fading until we got a bunch of snow. Then these little seedlings I'm so surprised about. I definitely stunted a lot of these that didn't germinate because I just put this one out a little bit too early. It is what it is. And these, you can see they're mostly just dealing with dryness. Whenever you put your seedlings outdoor, they will lose moisture quicker than if they are indoors. You see the celeries, they're getting really big for their container. As soon as it gets 3 hours, I'm going to put it back in the shade, let them chill out until tomorrow. I'll give them a full sun, no, 6 hours of sun, and then 9 hours of sun, and then full sun. So that's essentially how that works. So we'll probably just pick up back again at the very end, and then we'll do a complete overview and the hardening process will be completed. It's so exciting, guys, so exciting. Let me see when I go like this. See the ice that has formed to get this bad boy in the sun. It's not happy. Which one is these? These are our coleus asters, strawflower, celoseas. We're gonna get them in the sun. Hi friends, welcome back. This is now day number 6 of the hardening off. We are doing great. The plants are doing great. A lot of things have gone out a little bit too early. I got a little too excited. The snapdragon seedlings, as young as they are thriving. They're not bothered a bit by the cold, the wind, anything. The cosmos did suffer a bit, so I may consider just redoing some of them. I don't know. I'm not that into cosmos where I'll miss them too much if they don't survive. So I think I'll just work with whatever survives. So the plan for today was to have 6 hours of sunlight. Yesterday they had about 3, which is perfect, right on track. But it didn't happen today because the weather just didn't want to give us sun. Decided to give us rain instead, which I'm not upset about at all. But what happens when it rains is a lot of these trays, especially when you have them outside and they are getting bottom watered still, the trays will accumulate that rainwater, and you don't want the roots sitting in that water for too long, especially when the temperature is a little cooler. So I'm going to go around and essentially just pour out all that rainwater. I'm not going to just pour it on the ground. I am going to collect it in one of the buckets that I have behind me. And I like to use the rainwater here for my indoor plants. Just anything, but I don't just throw it out. I like to make sure that I'm collecting the water. I think the rain is supposed to stop around 6 today. Right now it's 5 o'clock. So in an hour, that should be the end for the rain. And the next 2 days, it's supposed to be partly cloudy. You'll still get about, it says like 5 hours of sun, which should be perfectly fine. And then the next day is supposed to be all sunny. So that should give it the 9 hours of sun that is required. Then after that, we should be done with hardening off. But right now, let's just go ahead and remove the rainwater from the bottom part of the seedlings. And then we're just gonna leave everything out overnight again. They live outside now. That's the end of it. Make sure you hold on to your babies. These poor soil blocks, holy moly. Okay, ooh, water's cold. Oh, this one's falling apart. Oh, baby. Oh, poor thing, oh no. That soil block has been through so much. Oh, is it worth it to try to get this? Okay. Soil blocks should not be left in the rain. Oh, jeez. Oh. This tray is falling apart. Everything looks good in here too. Some little seedlings from the coral bells coming up. One seedling from the torch, well, 2 seedlings from the red hot poker, And I see 1 or 2 from the ladies' mantle. Big boy. Everything is doing well in here, except for the arugula. Let me show you. Here's the arugula, and it's just not looking its best. So weird, because it's supposed to like the cooler temps. This is the herb one. Broccolis are getting their true leaves now. Look at these babies. Look at that. Do you guys think this basil will come back? Let me know now what you guys think. Maybe I could revive them. Got a big bucket. Oh, look at that. Can you see? Nice stuff. I honestly still don't know where I'm putting all of these seedlings, but that's not for me to worry about right now. Welcome, welcome. We are on day 7. We have a high of 56 degrees. Everything is still looking good. Initially, I was going to just give them 3 hours today, but I think I'm going to amp that up to 6 hours because they've been getting sun here and there over the past couple of days, so I think 6 hours will be fine. So that means we'll be done with our hardening off tomorrow. So this entire process would have taken us 8 days. A little windy right now. You could see everything just going all over the place. So we're probably, well, I'm definitely going to take these off of this ledge. And we have these pretty babies down here and some up here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take the ledge girls down. Look guys, we have a bumblebee. We have a bumblebee, can you see? So that's pretty much all we're going to be doing today, and then we're going to pick this back up tomorrow and we'll do like a full wrap up. But I'll see you guys then. Friends, we have reached the end of our hardening off process. Hopefully this makes you feel a little bit more at ease about getting started, especially if this is your first time. So that is my main reason for doing this video. So if this video makes you feel a little bit more at ease about hardening off, then I am really happy about that. The process can seem really intimidating, but like I say, just take your time. I started out saying that I'll do about 4 or 5 hours initially, but I took that down to 3 hours, and I was just doing a 3-hour interval every time I would put them in a new environment. I did 9 hours in the shade, then I did overnight, because at that time the temperature was still around the same during the day as it was overnight. And then I went ahead and did 9 hours for the sun, and then that completed my hardening off process. So the process was 7 days, I believe, either 7 or 8 days. You can go longer, like you can start out with an hour or 2 if you feel a little bit more at ease doing that. There's no real rush, I guess. You could baby your seedlings as much or as little as you want. You know, ease yourself into the process. It's really scary going from babying your seedlings indoors and having them being really large and, you know, just being proud of that, and then having to harden them off and put them in an environment that they could really get completely damaged. I had a few mistakes, even though this is my 3rd year, and I want to go through some of those with you so that you could keep those in mind whenever you are starting to hardening off. So the first thing that I made a mistake, and I knew better when I was doing this, was I didn't wait till all my seedlings was at least 5 weeks old. They will fare so much better if you give them time to get a little taller than when they're just first coming up as seedlings. And you could see I jumped the gun with my snapdragons, with my cosmos. There was some other things with my lemongrass, and they really suffered for it. So just make sure that your seedlings are at least 5 weeks old before you start the hardening off process. And with that is, you want to make sure that you are separating your seedlings based on climate. So whenever you're hardening off before your last frost date, those things are usually your cool season crops. And then closer to your last frost date or a little bit after, those are usually your summer season crops. I had some summer season crops with my cooler season crops, and they definitely suffered. You guys know my hibiscus, I had to bring that back in. My basils, which I was supposed to bring back in, but they're so quick to restart that I just said forget it. My basil, my lemongrass, there was something else. A lot of my flower seeds, like my celosias, didn't fare well. Some of my asters and my African daisies, they didn't do well being exposed to that cooler temperature before they have gotten a chance to size up, and they're not used to that cooler temperature either. So just something to keep in mind. If you are going to protect your seedlings in the first few days, like I did with the greenhouse, you want to invest in a digital thermometer. I'm gonna link the one that I use below for you guys, but it definitely saved me on that day. I think I had just scooted into the sun just a little bit, and while I was doing the garden class for my daughter, for some reason I decided to just check it, and it was really getting hot in there. I think about 70. And sometimes with these seedlings, they seem like they're doing fine until they're not. They'll be nice and green, and then you turn around and their leaves are scorched. So it happens really quickly. So having that thermometer in there that I was able to access from my phone was really, really helpful. And thank goodness I had that there, because we had some seedlings that had some heat damage, some scorching from the sun. The basil had that, the borage had that, and I think that was it. You want to also be flexible. There was a point where it was a really windy day. I believe it was like the second or third day that I was doing the hardening off. The third or the fourth day that I was doing the hardening off, and it was just a really, really windy day. And it was at that point where I was supposed to have them out for 9 hours, and I was just so resistant to bringing them inside because I didn't want to restart the process. And a lot of my seedlings suffered from that. A lot of my cosmos especially, they were nice and tall at that point, and the wind just knocked them down. When I felt the leaves for the different plants, they were really cold, and it was just not a good idea. So in those instances, you want to just evaluate your environment, and just maybe, instead of being so rigid on the time, just go ahead and just give them a little bit of time, maybe 3 hours in that new environment, instead of trying to push it all the way to 9 hours. And speaking of timing, I have a habit of setting a time that I'm supposed to bring everything in or bring them into the shade, and I will literally forget. So sometimes they're supposed to be out for 6 hours and they'll end up being out for 10 hours. So the damage could have been a lot worse, but I would recommend going ahead and set an alarm for the timing, especially when they're just starting to harden off. You don't want to leave them out too long, especially in like a harsh sun or wind environment. Set an alarm so that you remember, and you could go and take those seedlings and protect them from whatever conditions is going on. Last point, you guys saw that I've gone back into seed blocking, which I really enjoy. But whenever you're hardening off seedlings that are grown through soil blocking, you want to give them a little bit more protection, especially when it comes to those rainstorms. The soil blocks will start deteriorating if they have too much water in the container, and then it's also really hard to get that excess water out of the container without possibly tumbling over those soil blocks. So if you are doing soil blocks, just give them a little bit more of your care and protection when it comes to conditions like the rain. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope this was really helpful for you guys. Learn from my mistakes. Do not rush the process. Have patience and just be ready to adjust whenever needed. If you have any questions or tips or something that I just forgot to mention that you have learned during your hardening off process, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. Until next time, Irie, peace out. Bye.